Well, anyway.
Yeah, you should have known. I hate Shyamalan.
So here's the thing that we were supposed to talk about. So there's a little bit of news. We're going to mostly be talking about our retro review of A Scanner Darkly for this episode because we're kind of in the lull of summer. We really hit, for us anyway, for Tyler and I, Deadpool and Wolverine was kind of like the big movie that we were looking forward to. And we really said at the beginning of the season, we're like, Furiosa and Deadpool and Wolverine were really the only movies we cared to see.
I think like the next big thing is Creature Commandos.
I am curious to see. I am kind of tempted to see Alien Romulus because it does look really fucking good.
Yeah, we could see that, and that would be because I was just gonna say there's another movie. I mean, I'd be up for seeing one more movie before the end of the year.
Well, it comes out next weekend, so we have to figure that out at some point.
But Creature Commandos is the next like big thing. We got kind of screwed because Acolyte and The Boys like ran concurrently almost.
Yeah.
I mean, literally
we had so much content with that.
The Boys started with the first 3 right before the Acolytes episode 4, so then they were all of a sudden on
time with each other.
Dicks.
But then you have to the thing with that is you have so much energy tied to these 2 shows during the week, and then once they're done, you're like, oh shit, and then you're just you get in that weird first world problems, I know, but you get in that little show.
There were a couple times on Thursday,
so maybe
I'd come home from work and I'd be like, what am I going to do after work? The Boys is on.
Episode 163 might be Alien Romulus. We don't know.
We'll figure it out. You
shut your mouth. So anyway, the news from this weekend that I thought was interesting was Borderlands, the blockbuster movie.
Oh, shit show.
Yeah, based on the video game series. Now, I am someone who has played the Borderlands games. I played the original trilogy. Mm-hmm. I played a lot of Borderlands. I probably played the most of Borderlands 2. That's the one I played the most. But I played Borderlands 1. I played Borderlands 2. I played a little bit. I played a good amount of Borderlands 3. So I had a relationship with this franchise. I'm familiar with it. I mean, I enjoyed playing the games, but I enjoyed the sense of humor and the fun of it, but I never was ultra passionate about it like some other game franchises, you know?
Yeah.
So when I heard they were making a movie, I'm like, okay, cool, that's interesting. And then I found out the cast news, and I'm like, wait, what? For starters, Jack Black being Claptrap. I love Jack Black. I love Claptrap. I don't care what voice he tries to do for this. It's just not going to fit for me because the guy who did Claptrap in the games was so damn good at it that I would love him in the movie. He's not going to be because he had a whole labor dispute with Gearbox, who owns Borderlands 2K and Borderlands. So yeah, he wasn't.
Well, you got to get star power for a shit show.
As far as I remember, there was a label dispute, and so he's not in the third game. So of course, he wouldn't be in the movie. I have not seen it. I had a friend that saw it and said it's terrible. And he has, I think, more of an attachment to this. I think he's played those games a lot more than I have. And he was like, no, it's shit. Because they try to blend the story of the first game with the second game. And
with the characters from the second game?
Yeah, and they kind of mixed and matched the characters from the game. Cause
you ever heard of Tank Girl?
So, yeah, I know. Yes, I have.
This reminds me of that a lot, even though one is based off of a graphic novel and this is based off of a video game.
And that's the thing.
Hyped up, big budget
and
turds.
And the video games are I'm not saying the humor and the fun of those games couldn't translate to a movie, but I think there's a lot more to this movie other than the fact that it just seemed from the first trailer. I am someone who has played the games. I am someone who would be like, it's like when that Fallout trailer came out, my first reaction was like, oh shit, yes, this feels like it's in the world. This feels like Fallout.
Yeah.
When I saw this, I'm like, this feels like it does have the sense of Borderlands of that world, but it just feels like a fucking Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff because of the fucking classic rock choice, the the humor choice of the trailer, just so much of it, I'm like, yeah, it feels manufactured. It doesn't feel like a genuine adaptation of those games.
As somebody who's never played the games, I can tell you, as just an avid movie watcher, I knew the minute I saw Cate Blanchett's wig that it was a turd.
Again, why are we hiring Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis and I'm not trying...
Kevin Hart?
Especially for Kevin Hart, who Roland in the video games is more of a straight character to all the other zany, crazy shit that happens in the game. Roland is more of a traditional soldier type.
So let's hire a zany,
and then you
wacky
get a fucking comedian
to play.
It's just, choices like that. And look, I'm not trying to... Look,
I'd love to see
Tyler,
it if
Tyler,
Kevin Hart
I'm not trying to be ageist. Listen, I'm not trying to be ageist and say we got old people to be in this movie. But I'm just saying we could have injected I just don't understand. It just screams of we were trying to hit focus groups. We know that Cate Blanchett scores big with this focus group. We know that Kevin Hart scores big with this group. You know what I mean? And it just again reeks of a studio. You can tell. You could see it in that Fantastic Four reboot. You could see it in Suicide Squad, where something was cut to shreds by a studio to fit demographics and be a product. Not a movie, a product.
Yep.
And it's frustrating because I don't have like I said, I don't have a super close connection to that series. I did enjoy the games. I had fun playing them. But I don't have even I on the outside was like, man, this does not resemble this game to me.
Yeah.
And also, it's PG-13, and the fun of the video games was the over-the-top art style and gore. It was hard M-rated. They were saying, fuck and shit, and there's blood and guts and and you got that for a PG-13, and it's just like Halo.
It's
just like Halo.
Screams, yeah.
It's just like Halo. Who the fuck are you making this for, dude? And it shows
some executive in a boardroom that's never seen or played the games.
And I say that out of frustration and no disrespect to anybody involved in terms of the actors, and they were just doing a job.
Honestly,
nothing
dude,
against them at all.
How many of them were just chilling out, and somebody showed up with a big fat check, and they were like, sure.
And I say this also...
20 days of work? All right. A lot of makeup?
I also think Cate Blanchett is a great actress. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actress.
Shit, Jack Black probably just did voice.
He did, but it's just
and got paid millions.
He's just doing video game movies.
What the fuck?
We made that joke. So we weren't the we.
Wouldn't you?
I wasn't alone in my thoughts of thinking this didn't look great, or it just didn't seem genuine. So when these first reviews dropped on Rotten Tomatoes, now keep in mind we have our own belief on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sure,
it's whatever.
Sure,
but it's kind of crazy just because I don't think I've ever seen this before.
Right.
So opened at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Now is that a critic or audience
score?
Okay,
critic score 0%.
And what is the audience score?
On Sunday, August 11th, as we record this, it is at 10%.
What about audience? Is there an audience yet?
Well, it came out on Friday. It just came out this past weekend. Right. Let's see. I'll pull it up right now. But again, regardless,
we're very aware of the bullshit involved in the whole Rotten Tomatoes scoring process. Sometimes we know that it's not an infallible system by any means, but it does give you pause. Like when something I really like has a low audience score, you're like, well, that's kind of weird. My first thought is that it's getting review bombed, and honestly, most of the stuff I like is getting review bombed by fucking chodes and cucks. Or whatever. What are they called? Yeah. Chuds. Whatever. Alt-right fuck faces. Anyway.
Well, it just... But I only bring it up because I don't think I've truly seen something like that.
Right, I don't think I've seen anything open at 0 and 10% after 4. Yeah.
It just shows, and you could argue that, Deadpool and Wolverine isn't really much of a storytelling thing. It's more of a product. And I'm like, yeah, you could argue that. But even in that movie...
But there's heart in it.
Yeah.
You can tell the people who made it were really...
And as someone... again, my friend who had seen both movies, he said at least it felt genuine, Deadpool and Wolverine, whereas this just... feels like a studio put it together. People that didn't, just like the Halo thing, where they just didn't understand the audience
Yeah.
and didn't understand your built-in fans of the book or fans of the games and just.
Have you ever heard of Ishtar?
Audience score is 50%, so still pretty low.
Have you ever heard of Ishtar?
Ishtar, no.
It's a movie that came out in the 80s, and it starred Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty in a buddy kind of comedy situation, right? And when it was being made and it was, getting hyped up and stuff before the premiere, it was widely thought of as like, holy shit, this is just going to rake in the cash, because these were two of the biggest leading men of their times, both critically and commercially. And it still is, I think, remains one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history because of the budget, because of, the hype around it and everything like that. And it's the same thing, like you and I are both really big football fans, NFL football fans.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times, not so much in the NFL, but you see it like in the Major League Baseball where teams try to buy championships. We saw it famously like 10 years ago with the Washington Commanders, but they were called something else then. But they bought that guy, Albert something, that defensive Albert Haynes.
Yeah.
They gave him like $170 million or some shit, and he turned out to play like one game or something.
So,
I'm just saying that Hollywood, sports has told us, and you've told us yourselves, sometimes you can't buy a good product.
And so
no matter how much money you throw at it.
Not a lot of people flock to see this thing. So $8.8 million is what it's looking at right now on Sunday as we record this. So not a lot of people saw this movie. Most people went to go see It Ends With Us, Blake Lively's movie.
What the fuck is that about?
It's based on a book. My wife's going to see it, so she read the book. So
from what I've understood from other ladies, they don't like that our author. She treats her characters terribly.
I've heard it's a good book, though. So
I don't know.
I'm never going to see
She
the movie.
writes like a book a week.
So anyway, Borderlands, that story leads me into something I wanted to talk about where... Because we've had this discussion back and forth of like... Where is
Are we doing best and worst video game?
No, it was more of a thing of like where can you think there's a good line of adaptation? Because... I feel like video games, the best adaptations of video games that we have seen in the last, 10 years, there's been a few movies, but it's mostly been TV shows because that format benefits to allow itself to go at the same pace as a video game would.
Yeah.
And where you can be like, okay, we can tell this story in 15 hours like we would in a game because we can have an episode that's an hour if we need to, an hour and a half.
Question.
Yeah.
Where do we stand on the two Disney properties, Tron and Ralph?
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph. Because those are two movies based on not real games that I think spawned games afterwards. Are those considered video game adaptations?
No,
not really, are they?
No, because they started as movies. I'm saying is genuinely like is taking a story.
Because if we include those two are right up there. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying
I'm thinking
taking the narrative that you would from a single player game and how that would work. And again, I think it benefit. I'm not saying it can't be done in a movie, but the movie would have to be.
The recent Mario movie was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that can work. Like some things can lend themselves to that, exactly, but not like The Last of Us and Fallout are so good because they're given the time to tell that story. They're given time as you would in a video game to develop that story.
It makes more sense with the video game format. Yeah.
It makes more sense. It's just again.
Didn't they make like an anime adaptation of Castlevania?
Yeah.
Okay, see, that seems like it would be a cool adaptation as somebody who played the original NES game a few times.
There's also...
More than a few times. I lost some afternoons.
There's also a League of Legends one. I can't remember the name of it.
By the way, when you get far enough in Castlevania that you get like the long ass like big whip that's got like a chain and shit at the end of it, when you have to start off again with the little tiny little piece of rope, little thread, man, it's It's just demoralizing, man. You're just like, I don't want to go that far again. Okay.
And it's still, you think about it, I would say the 1995 Mortal Kombat is still probably one of the best adaptations. As crazy as it sounds. The most recent
one was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I saw it, but you told me, I don't know.
The problem is the whole Arcana superpower thing, because that kind of, it does make it like a superhero thing where it's like, that's not really how it is in the game. But honestly, at this point, it's like, I hate to say this, and fanboys are going to freak the fuck out when I keep saying this. It's just like Star Wars. At this point, I stopped giving a shit. Because you know what? Mortal Kombat has rebooted itself like 4 fucking times at this point, so I don't give a shit. So that's like, actually, as you say, maybe time has grown better on this movie for me, because I'm like, who fucking cares? Because they don't care about their lore that much. So who cares that they have superpowers in this movie?
Can I just say,
but you're right.
Yeah.
The Mortal Kombat thing is still, like, those movies work, even though the reboot and the one that came out in 21, I was like, why are we waiting until the next movie to do a tournament, whatever. But I thought that was kind of dumb, because I'm like, the whole point of the fucking game is the tournament. But regardless, my point is those can work as movies because it's centered around a tournament, right? So that plot works. But something like The Last of Us is like that video game is like this that story is told over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And get ready for season 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did split season 2.
Oh, I gotta finish season 1.
Because they're gonna split it into 2 parts. We did. We finished season 1.
I never finished season 1. I didn't. I will.
Honestly, they released a trailer a little bit ago. Oh, there's some. I forgot to mention, real quick before we get into our review, D23 stuff.
Oh,
I saw leaked footage of Daredevil Born Again.
Oh,
and from what I saw, I am fucking ready.
Did it make your pants tight?
Yes. Can I like, it's probably, the trailer's probably gonna come out soon, but I can I just tell you the big like moment? I'm like, let's fucking go. So first of all, we see Deborah Ann Woll and
Foggy Nails.
Yes, Foggy. They're back. We see that. We see the dynamic of him. I think he was talking to Kamala Khan's parent, or like her dad. And he's like, because like the big joke at the end is like, how do you do that? He's like, I'm a really good lawyer. But the big thing at the end, it was like towards the end of the trailer, it was like supposed to be like the big like mic drop moment, is you see a struggle, and I think, I can't quite make out what he says, but I think he says, I need your help or something. And the guy, you see the arm holding him up is revealed to be John Barathol. And I'm like, oh my fuck, they really... Because I saw that had been rumored, but I don't think I'd ever seen anything official. And I'm like, oh my fuck.
I actually have read much as a couple weeks ago that
I don't know how
he was coming back.
It was hard to see. It was kind of grainy. I don't know how much of this is real or how much of it is true. No, but if it is true, that's a big fucking get. Like, that's a big deal.
The last time I read about
I'm pretty sure it was confirmed, though,
Born Again was the fact that Bernthal was returning as Frank Castle Punisher.
Yeah.
It was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
A month ago. As far as I knew, that was a thing already. I knew what had been rumored, but I thought it was confirmed a couple weeks ago.
But that's cool. Like, oh shit. And it's going to be interesting how they're going to...
Yeah, but again, subtracting the series that we just reviewed on previous episodes of Off Panel Off Topic, available wherever you get your podcasts. Honestly, the Punisher's a dumb character. It's dumb. It's dumb. Wow. Stop it. Stop it. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away.
Wow.
Bernthal, you got better time. You got better shit to do with your time.
Oh yeah, that was real. Okay, I just got confirmation that that they did show that at D23. They also was shown is Harrison Ford turning into Red Hulk. But here's the best part.
Somebody tweeted about that yesterday.
Here's the best part. The footage showed that the presidential seal, and so he did it in front of a fucking podium. So like he made it public that the president is a superhuman.
Okay.
I'm like, whoa, okay, what are we doing? I got to tell you, everybody, look, I had my reservations about Captain America Brave New World. I was really concerned just because of how many reshoots were happening. And again, just everything post-Endgame, how fucking all over the place they've been with their plans and where this is all going. But, like, this movie is so interesting. And I think they're doing the right thing and getting back to what we really liked about those solo Captain America movies is when you turn Captain America into, like, kind of like this renegade spy. Like this guy that's
covert operative.
Yeah. That's what we're tapping into with this, but then we're also touching with the idea of like, oh shit, there's a Red Hulk. The leader's in this somewhere. We haven't seen him yet.
I don't want to see him.
And I don't want to. I don't need to. He's in it, fine. I'll see him in the movie.
I somehow avoided all spoilers from Deadpool and Wolverine before I saw it.
I only had one, and that was the Calverine part. That was it.
I heard nothing.
Yeah.
But I was very proud of myself.
I know. I just think there's some interesting things coming out of D23 there. So yeah, it was. But I thought that was a really interesting choice. Maybe it was just, and it could be. You also have to think maybe some of this stuff gets like leaked on purpose,
right?
Where it's like, okay, this maybe isn't even in the movie. This is just maybe just test footage that they like.
But we hear about him doing it in front of a podium. Do we know that there's other people in the room?
All I could see was him doing it in front of a podium.
That's what I'm saying. Is maybe Captain America's in the back of the room or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's nobody in there.
It looked like it was outside though.
Yeah, well,
like it was,
fuck
like
off.
It was like in front of the White House.
Oh yeah.
Lawn. Okay, whatever. Yeah, because presidents never ever address anybody in front of the White House lawn ever. It never happens. Never seen it once.
That's not what I said.
Pretty much what you're trying to say.
No, I'm not. I'm saying like
with that fucking attitude you are.
It doesn't.
You come at me like that, dude.
For nobody to be around outside.
I'll walk right over that table and I'll hug you. All right. Anyway.
Don't you fucking hug me.
Don't you fucking hug me.
Don't you fucking hug me. I don't love you no more.
Wow.
Don't you fucking hug me. I'm laying on the floor.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Thanks, man.
Did you write that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just now. That's how good I am.
I'm so glad people hear this every week. Hear what I deal with. All right.
Hear what I deal with.
See? You can't help it.
I can't fucking help it. I just gotta sing.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
All right. So, yeah, since we've had a little bit of a lull period.
You could have said kill me on that one.
You know what I want?
Kill me!
That's where, because if I sing too much. That's where you should.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.